So this is the first of a few tutorials that will explain to you in detail how to access and set up a successful Blackboard Ultra course. In this tutorial, we'll look at how to access and how to initially set up your course so that you can start adding and managing content. When you go to My Seneca, go to the courses link on the left, and at the top, go to Ultra Converted for the courses that have been converted from previous semesters with all of your content. And for courses in future semesters, for example, in the summer, you will go to upcoming courses to see blank course shells. And in later tutorials, we'll show you how to take courses that have been converted and copy them to your courses in the future. Now, of course, you will be doing that going forward each semester. All of your courses that you taught recently have been converted. But going forward, for example, for August, for January, and next May, you will get blank course shells like you always have, and your job is to copy them over, which is a pretty simple process. So let's get started. I have my converted courses here. I'm going to click on this one right there. Now, of course, you cannot change the title of the course. That comes from the institution. Now, the system is quite simple. It's a different look and feel from the traditional or original Blackboard, but students seem to like the linear format of how the content is laid out. All of your content will be laid out in a vertical fashion like this. Now, you can take liberties and do some very creative things to set up the content in a sequence so that it is meaningful for the students and will have the pedagogical impact that your course deserves. Now, let's start with basic setups. Okay, first of all, the title is already there for you. Your content, I'll show you how to access it later. Now, on the left-hand side, your students will not see all of this. Much of this is just for you. So, for example, question banks we'll look at in a future tutorial. Institution tools, of course, your students will see. Announcements, your students will see. Attendance is a new feature for you. We'll look at later on. Okay, and when you do start, just remember your courses are always private until you decide to release them, which would usually be about 1 or 2 weeks before the class starts. Now, we're going to start with this. At the top right now, the course looks the way it does. There's no particular image at the top. You can choose to leave it like this. It's just a white, cleaner feel, I suppose. But there is an option to put a course banner or an image. And let's start with that fun element first. So if you click Edit Display Settings, you will see on the right-hand side just some sort of stock image that Blackboard has given you. And this is how you turn that image on or off. Now, I'm going to show you how to upload a brand new image that has maybe something related to your course, including a welcome. It says the image must be 1200 by 240 pixels. Don't worry about that. I'll show you in a smaller tutorial how to actually create one of those in PowerPoint, okay? So I'm going to upload an image, and it just happens to be on my desktop, and I'll just put that right there. That's the name of it. I called it Banner. Give it some time. It's going to upload, and you're allowed to size it back and forth so it fits within that rectangle, okay? And you can enlarge it, zoom it in, but if you design it properly the first time, you won't have to fiddle with it too much. So let's click Done. And of course, for accessibility and IOTA requirements, we want to either mark the image as decorative, but I'm going to put a proper image description. I'll call it Course Banner Person in Digital Work with Decorative Background. There we go. Okay, that didn't take too long, right? So now what I'm going to do is turn the course image on just by sliding this over and then click Save. Now there we go. So that's what the banner will look like, and that's up to you. There's no requirement that you have one. I'm choosing to put one. It kind of, brings the eyes of the students to the course when they log in. It's not blank. It's not bland. Okay. So first part of the course is set up. Okay. What else can you do? The roster is not something you change. That will be populated once students enroll in your course. The course description is not something you can change. That just comes from head office is what I call it, central office. Groups we'll talk about later, how to set up course groups and sets of groups for adaptive release or maybe for testing or exercises, group work, whatever you have. That's a future tutorial. When you're all done with your course and you want to release it, you would click here where course is private, and it'll give you an option to actually enable the course. Now, later in future tutorials, we'll look at some of these things in detail. So the next step is this. If you want to add up a course schedule, I mean, your students know when your course is, right? But there's a really cool, easy to access feature in this version, and that's called Calendar. And on this calendar, you can put all sorts of things like the dates and times of the courses. You can also put when due dates are, when deliverables are, milestone dates, whatever you have. So we're going to start over here at the bottom, and we're going to add course schedule. And on the right hand side, so this panel will open up. Click the plus sign, and you can actually now have a nickname for your course. So I'm just going to get rid of this, which is fine. And you know, the name of the course won't change, no. However, this is what will appear on the calendar itself. So get rid of all of this stuff. I don't think students want to see that. So we'll just call it HST 860 NUU, and I'll get rid of the rest. Now the first day my course is going to be offered, let's just, I'm not sure when May starts, but let's just say May the 8th. And it is a 11:35 start. Okay, let's leave it at that AM. Okay, and Eastern Daylight Time, and it will end at, I'm not sure when the class ends. I think it's 12:20. Okay, so we'll call it 12:20 p.m. Simple enough. Now, it is not an all-day event. Classes are not. It is repeated weekly, every week on, let's say, a Monday. Okay, so it's already there. And we're going to do 14 sessions of this. Actually, we're going to do 15 because reading week is in there, and we can type that, change that later. And I'm just going to say it's in B3036. Done. When we save that, schedule will be populated for everybody. And of course, you can always edit by clicking the three dots. So throughout Blackboard Ultra, editing is always clicking the three dots, always to the right of what it is that you're looking at. Okay. Now, if there were other outside meetings, tutorials, or what have you, you can always click plus and add additional events as well. So cool way to populate your calendar for the benefit of you and, of course, your students, and the students will see it in this format. So they can go day by day, they can go month by month, and you can add special events as well. Now, be careful. If you add personal items on here, students will be able to see it. Now here's a cool feature, right? There's a course schedule, but you can also put specific due dates here as well. There's nothing there, but you can always click plus, and I'll say add event, or you can add office hours, of course, right? So let's add an event. I've got an exercise that is due in, let's say, June the 10th, and it's due at 12 o'clock p.m. That's fine. And let's see, what do we have here? We will call this, go up here and we'll call this exercise 1 due. Okay. No location. I can put a description if I want. I'll click save, and the students will have it in their calendar. Now, here's the thing. Students will choose or not to choose to use the actual calendar. But if you set it, it'll be good for you. It will be good for them. Now, let's click back on content. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've set that up. There's not much else to set up here. We've set up that. You can set up one more announcement, I suppose. I posted one. Let me just show you. And an announcement looks like this. I just put in welcome to HST. I could click on it. I could have a look. I put a little picture here. I put a welcome message, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the way students see the announcements is kind of strange. It's a little bit different. They would actually have to click over here. Now, me particularly, I don't change my announcement on a weekly basis. I know some faculty do. So you can always add a weekly announcement here. And when you add the announcements, you don't have to release them all right away. There will be an option for you to say show people or don't show people the announcement at this particular time. So have a look. Here's what I did. I'm starting a new announcement. I put in my title. Everybody will see it. There's only me in this course. I managed to put a picture up here, and I put in some text. Now you can change the text a little bit by using the font color, the size, the actual font itself. There's not a heck of a lot unless you know HTML. You can also add attachments directly in the announcement. You can add links directly in the announcement, and you can actually even insert a table. So I put a table to align my image on the left, and of course my text on the right. So you can have some fun with it. I won't get into too much detail about editing content here. You will see that in the next tutorial when we look at content. and the same rules will apply. Now, to add an image or a video or something, you would click here. Okay, you can also start recording at this point or YouTube video directly into your announcements. So that's what your announcements look like. Let's X that. That's another thing with this version of Ultra is that each panel you have to click the X to close. And you and your students will get used to that very quickly. Okay? So what have we done? We opened up our course. We added a banner, which is your preference or not. We are going to make the course not so private. And we added an announcement, one or more announcements, and we set up a schedule. Done. You do that, you're finished setting up the course. Now, in the next tutorial, we're going to look at how to add content over here. Now, in your converted courses, you're going to get all of your content from your previous course, but it might not look and feel the same way that you're comfortable with. And I'm going to show you how to quickly and, well, relatively easily make it your own. And we'll start with adding faculty information. Okay, so have a look at the second video, and many of these items have a smaller video that you could find in the catalog or video list area on this site, including how to create a banner. Okay.